The GNU is not at the best interest of the ordinary South African citizens. The GNU is not at the best interest of the toiling masses of a people whom are not only African but blacks in particular. Why do I say that? Many people have thought that when President Zuma insisted on a call that the GNU is a facade, when we also rejected GNU, they thought that we are politicking. I'm seated here today, there is a VAT increase. And I think that majority of South Africans do not have a thorough appreciation. What do we mean in layman's terms when we speak of the VAT increase or a VAT hike? We mean that for you to buy bread, it's going to be a little expensive. For you to pay a bond, it's going to be a little expensive. For you to pay for your car, it's going to be a little expensive. For you to buy a cigarette and basic needs that makes you to be a human being on a daily basis, it's going to be a bit expensive. And who made that thing possible? It is under the leadership or under the stewardship of the so-called GNU. So those are the politics that we spoke about, that indeed our people, they need to be galvanized and they need to be made aware that the GNU cannot be what our people are subjected to. An alternative government in South Africa ought to be put into place. But we also spoke about the importance of conscientizing people that umkhonto wesizwe won elections and the elections were rigged. And that we need to further conscientize South Africans that we want our votes. I'm speaking on Thursday this week. We are going back to court to put a clear statement or a clear call that this is the evidence. During elections, there was 2 hours when the system was down. After that 2 hours, the votes of MKP began to stagnate. I can tell you the 2 million, 2.5 million is not the real numbers of people who voted MK. People in South Africa, they believe in MK. They don't believe in the African National Congress. And the time of MK is now. And we need to begin to tell the people that we need to demand our votes. And those who stole our votes, they must be held accountable. Because if that is not done, you might plug the country into chaos, which is something that we do not need.
Ukhuluma nge-VAT increase, ukhuluma ngama-tax. Bengazi ukuthi as South African citizens isibhadala ama-tax amaningi kangaka. Besihleli nosisi Mandisa Mashego about a month ago khona la ekhishini sinonota. And just to calculate some of the, she spoke about 116 taxes that South Africans pay. Little did I know that we do. Although some of the taxes that she started counting, they sounded familiar to my ear. But I will not talk about 116. But just to sort of give a perspective as to umuntu bugele out there on some of the taxes that we pay on a daily basis, we're not even aware. The Skills Development Levy, Unemployment Insurance Fund, we call it the UIF, that contribution, the fuel levy, the sin taxes, uchwala, ukwa into njengalezo, withholding tax on interest, environmental levies, just to name a few, income tax, value-added tax, which is VAT, like by news.
Yes.
PAYE, PAYE, pay as you earn, corporate tax, capital gains tax, CGT, dividend tax for laba banama company or noma abanama shares ama company namakhulu, estate duty, bazowazi ke laba ba home owner, noma ba ama property investor, noma ba ama developer, transfer duty, now uthenga indlu now uzokwazi lokho, customs or excess duty, bazokwazi ke laba bahlale bathenga impahla phesheya noma bazifaka ngapha. I'm just naming a few. And these are some of the little things ukuthi asizinakisisi kahle. Umuntu uyabheka many years ago besingabhadala ama-tax amaningi kangaka.
Yes.
Kusho ukuthi ngamanye amagama umuntu who's on the receiving end of all of this is the poor.
Exactly. No, I think it goes back to saying, you know, when there's a weaker leadership of the country, they want to outsource the responsibility of leading the country to the people themselves. Because, when they take these taxes from ordinary people, they want to ensure that the country is able to move forward, but milking the very same people they are supposed to lead. We are the most rich country in Africa. We are richer than England in terms of mineral resources on the sky, beneath the soil, and in water. But when you check the lives of our people, the quality of the life that they live is not as in accordance to the resources that we have. When you check the taxes that we have, the burden that the people they carry in order for this country to be kept afloat, it does not go with the resources that we have in this country. Under ordinary circumstances or under normal circumstances, if things were led by proper leadership, with the mineral resources that we have in this country, these taxes are not relevant to us. So I think one of these, what we have counted here when it comes to the tax that we have counted, it's because there is a huge failure of leadership and no one wants to come out and say it as it is. The GNU is failing. You cannot run the country on taking from ordinary people and making taxes left, right, and center for you to keep the country afloat. Use the resources that the God has given us, which is oil, which is gold, which is manganese, which is coal, which is anything that you may count that you find in the country of ours, so that we can be able to run the country properly without having so much taxes.
Ungayijaja ngendlela eziningi ehlukahlukene i-GNU kodwa uma wathi uyacabangisisa kahle into enjenge racism as well. Babethu umuntu mhlambe uma a-racist kakhulukazi abelungu, ivideo nokuba viral uthola umuntu athola simvulela ama-case simdiscipline kodwa for some reason ngathi ama-racist wa comfortable kulamalanga nangena ku-social media sithukwa ngapha nangapha ngathi thina we did not endure the pain that we've endured as abantu abamnyama, ngathi thina zange singcwabe every weekend, ngathi thina asilahlekelanga abomkhulu bethu abogogo bethu naba-anti bethu, ngathi thina we don't still live in this pain that we come from in this country, ngathi thina we are also just privileged, ngathi we must just work hard. Ngathi nje thina we don't understand. We even are told on social media ukuthi we are racist thina ourselves for expressing ourselves. And ngize ngiyibuza mina ukuthi is it even possible ukuthi umuntu omnyabe abe i-racist ekubeni aka control any means of the system or of the economy?
No, exactly. I think you are putting it correct, Butisbu. Our country that we have, we must not consistently blame white people for being white. If you are still shocked about the white behavior, why they behave the way they are, it means you lack the appreciation of their history, where they come from. What they are doing is what they've always done from since time immemorial. These are the people who were responsible for kidnapping of South Africans, of Africans in particular, in general. These were the people who were responsible for the killing of our ancestors. These were the people who, before they enslave us as Africans, they began to enslave themselves. Where they come from, you would know that when you ponder into white history, you had something which was called the pagans and the enlightened. So the pagans were referred to as the barbarians. Then you had the lords who would now enslave those who were barbarians. There were no blacks there. When they were done enslaving each other, when they were done oppressing each other, they then came here in Africa, plundered our resources, killed our forefathers and our foremothers, raped our forefathers and our foremothers, stole our livestock, took our land, murdered, killed, segregated, did all manner of horrible things that a normal human being cannot do.